Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel, A Magical Life with Ayla. I'm Ayla Hillel, and today we're going to be talking about limiting beliefs. So let's get started. So, in the conversation about raising our vibrations so that we can heal ourselves and begin to create powerfully magical lives for ourselves, we have to come into the idea that a lot of what sets our vibrational tone are things that have been in us for a very long time. In other words, beliefs that we picked up as children, that we accepted as teenagers, and that we eventually come to create on our own as adults. This is really difficult. I had my time with trying to rescript some limiting beliefs that I had. A lot of my limiting beliefs came from organized religion that I participated in as a child. A lot of my limiting beliefs came from my family growing up. Some limiting beliefs include I'm not smart enough to do that thing that I would really like to do, or I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not enough, period. And these limiting beliefs I believe that these limiting beliefs are in our cells. They are so absorbed into who we are that it really takes a while of diligent, willful, deliberate effort to start redoing these beliefs. So I'll give you an example of something that I struggled with. So I was raised in a particular organized religion, and along the way, I picked up the idea that I was not worthy, that, God would be there for me if He wanted to be there for me, if He found my goals and my desires to be worthy of His energy in my life. And so I was constantly trying to figure out if I was worthy, first of all, trying to figure out if what I wanted to do with my life, or a desire that I had, or a project that I wanted to create, that God would help me with those things if I was worthy. And this was something that I carried into adulthood with me. And I came upon my place of healing, and you've heard that story. And I started meditating. One of the things that healed me from my mental illness was meditation, but not just healed my mind and my heart and my spirit, but healed the relationship that was hurting. It was hurting me, between me and God. So once I began to meditate, those limiting beliefs that I had about God in my life, about myself and who I am and what I'm capable of, all of that dissolved. Those limiting beliefs dissolved. And I became very familiar with me. I became very familiar with what I had inside of me. And that brought me into a very powerful place, not just of healing. If I'd have come into that powerful place with my healing, just with my healing, that would have been enough, because that healing was very, very powerful. But I came into a healed place where I had released a bunch of limiting beliefs about what I was capable of and what I could do. And at that moment, I knew that I could do whatever I wanted to do. Whatever I wanted to do with my life, I could do that with my life. All those limiting beliefs had dissolved, and I was no longer constrained by what I believed I could do or not do. I think one of the damaging things that we do as human beings to each other is we say, well, you can't do that. When William and I got ready to buy a house together for the first time, I made the mistake of talking to some people who had very limiting beliefs. And they said, oh, you must have a great down payment. No, not really. Oh, you must have amazing credit. No, very average credit. Nothing to write home about. Well, you can't buy a house if you don't have a down payment, or at the very least have some good credit. We bought a house. Yeah, we did. And I would have been derailed, because this is one of the reasons why it's a good idea to keep quiet when you're trying to create something in your life. Talk to magical people. Magical people are a lot less likely, instead of saying, well, you can't do that because you don't have A or you don't have B, they're a lot more likely to say, how are you going to do that? And the answer to that is it doesn't matter, because once you raise your vibration into that alignment of your desire, that vibration works the details out. And once you start emitting that vibration, all of your others, your angels and your spirit guides and your ancestors, are all working to make that happen. Nobody in the fifth dimension, not God, not anybody, is judging your desire, what you are trying to create in your amazing, powerful life. You know why you're there. They know why you're there too. They know why you have that desire, or why you're trying to create a particular thing in your life. They know, and they're not going to back down. And they conspire together and in co-creative energy with you to make that thing happen. And I'm sure you're thinking right now, well, why does it take so long? Let me give you one idea. I'm sure there's many ideas, but let me give you one idea about why it takes so long sometimes for us to manifest our desires. One of the things might be that we are working through some negative beliefs, some limiting negative beliefs about that thing. The other thing is that we set about, once we make up our mind, you have to make up your mind first before you can manifest anything in your life. You have to make up your mind first. So we make up our mind, then we set about trying to work those details out, don't we? I do this. It's like, I'm going to write down a plan. And writing down stuff is very powerful. But don't be so attached to what you wrote down that you're not willing to let the vibrations and the universe and all of the beings that are working with you. Don't be so attached to that written plan that you don't let them take you on a journey to your desire. I used to tell the ministers when I was training them how to do a ritual, I would say, plan, write your ritual down, plan every little detail of that ritual so that you are confident, you know what you're doing when you walk into that room, and then turn loose. Turn loose and let the universe have its vibrational way with you. You know you know what your objectives were when you wrote that ritual down, when you write your plans down for how you're going to achieve your goals. You know what you're doing. You know what steps you want to take, how you want it to turn out, and you need to know all of that. You need to decide. Maybe in your plan you have to do some research, write that research down, but then be open to the steps along the way, because the path may take you off a little. And don't doubt that. When it seems like you're being led off the path. So I have a question about that, being led off the path. Did you jump off the path? I took a job one time, and no sooner had I started that job than I realized I was off path. I forced that situation to happen, and then but it wasn't supposed to be a part of what I was doing. It was not a part of my path to get to where I wanted to be. So the question then becomes, did you jump off the path? Did you make a decision that took you off path? Then get back on path. If you did it, then get back on path. If they took you off path, then you want to pay particular attention to that, okay? So it's kind of like, we're here. You've seen this cartoon. I'll try to find it. Maybe I can post it in the description. I don't know if they'll let me, but I'll try. But you're here, and your desire is up here. And in our minds, we think it's a straight line. It's a straight line from where I'm at to where I want to be. It is never going to be a straight line. And pay attention, because you won't hear me say I guarantee very often, but I guarantee you it is never going to be a straight line from where you're at to where you want to be. You're going to get there because you are just that powerful. And the universe is not judging what you want to create in your life. If that's what you want to create in your life, they all rally around it and do their part while you're working the energy. Nobody is judging your desires. That is a very limiting belief, that the universe will help us, God will help us, the angels will help us, if our desires are worthy. We've got to get this out of our head. You are worthy by virtue of the fact that you breathe. Say it with me. I am worthy by virtue of the fact that I breathe. That becomes a very powerful statement. So let's work really hard in the next coming months, getting that idea out of our head that we are being judged by the universe, by God. We are not being judged. That is probably one of the most limiting beliefs that exist in the third dimension, that God judges us. God doesn't have to judge us. Do you like your life? Do you like where you're at in your life? Are you comfortable? Are you healed? You're the only one that needs to judge your life. And if the answer is no, I'm not comfortable, I'm not healed, I need to get well, I need to work on my healing, then that's a judgment. You're the only one that can make that judgment. The others, your angels, your dragons, your fairies, your guides, the gods and goddesses, source energy, all love you just the way you are. So I think that's probably the most damaging belief that we have on this realm, is that we have to be judged worthy before we can get divine direction or clarity or any sort of help. We have to be judged worthy. So I could go on and on about this judgment and how this is the thing that we need to get out of our belief system. So I am going to create a meditation that will help us to get over. If you are struggling with this, I will create a meditation. I will put it, it will be an audio file, and it will be free. I'm going to be creating a lot of audio files that I'm going to be charging a little fee for. But the limited beliefs audio file, the one about what we're talking about right now, will be free, and it will be in the community. If you look at my website, it's up at the right, and there's a thing that says community, and you'll want to scroll all the way to the bottom until you see audio file, Overcoming Limited Beliefs, and that will be a meditation, and you can have it. I think my website is through Squarespace, and I think they said it stays up for 24 hours. So you have 24 hours to download that meditation to your computer, and then it disappears. So, I just feel so strongly that this is such a powerfully limiting belief that it's the first thing we need to work on. It is the thing that we need to get over. God loves us no matter what. And God is having an experience through us. We planned our life. We knew what we wanted to do. We knew what we were trying to accomplish by putting together a life plan and then coming here and living it out. But because body, mind, and soul, we are made of the same energy that God is made out of, it gets to have an experience through us. So it certainly isn't going to judge us for the life that we are trying to create or a desire that we have. So that's probably the most powerful limiting belief. Now, if you go back and you watch the self-love video, I cried a lot in the self-love video because this also, it kind of rivals the limiting belief that God judges us. If we don't love ourselves, if you are not your number one care, your number one case, be on your case all the time. When I was in college, I learned a thing about how we look at the world. And one of the things is this idea that I am the center of the universe. This is called the egocentric fallacy. I am the center of the world. We're not. I'm not the center of the world. You're not the center of the world. But the egocentric dilemma is I am the center of my world. And that is absolutely the truth. You are the center of your world. And in my family growing up, I would hear, oh, well, stop patting yourself on the back, or, it's not all about you. In my world, it's all about me. I'm sorry, but it is. I'm not sorry. My life and my reality and my world is about me. Now listen very carefully, because there's a side effect of self-love that you might not have thought of. If I love me the most, if I take care of me the most, if I advocate for me the most, and I am my number one priority, and you are your number one priority, and you're loving you, and you're advocating for you, and you're taking care of you, and we're all doing the same thing, what do you think is going to happen in our world? All of the hurt and the pain and the dysfunction and the crime and everything that is negative in our world is going to heal. Hurt people hurt people. But if those wounds were healed through self-love, You know, a lot of people grow up. Psychologists, I remember when I was in psychotherapy, my psychologist telling me that there's no criteria for the way children grow up. They can be raised in these beautiful, amazing homes and grow up to be serial killers, or they can be raised in these dysfunctional homes and grow up to be these amazing people who bring peace and love to the world. So one of the limiting beliefs is that I'm not lovable. That causes a lot of problems, both with us personally and with the vibration that we emit and how we take care of other people. So it's very, very important that we do away with the limiting belief of I am unlovable. God loves you. The universe loves you. You probably have people in your life who love you, and that's probably very confusing for you. If you are in a place of not loving yourself, then it's going to be very confusing when somebody comes in and loves you. The catalyst for I had always been, when my mental illness finally really kicked in big, I had married William. William was not abusive. He was calm and balanced and rational, and he loved me. And I didn't know what to do with that. In my mental illness, I was in such a space of self-loathing that I didn't know what to do with this person who could only see the good in me. I had to get well for no other reason than I had to be able to receive the love that this person was giving me. Because when you don't love yourself, you don't love anybody else. You really don't. When I see people on Facebook, I have one friend in particular. Hi, Anita. I see her almost every morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, brothers and sisters. I love you so much. I'm thinking to myself, Anita must have a really high degree of self-love. That she wakes up in the morning thinking about how much she loves everyone else. That is precious. So self-love is, or the lack of self-love, is a very, very limiting belief. Limiting beliefs like, well, you can't do that because you don't have A or B. It's between you and the universe. Your power and what you can do is between you and the universe. And you're the one who decides to get out of your way when you go to create something in your life. You get out of your way and stop throwing up those roadblocks. Well, I can't do this because I don't have this. I can't do this because I don't have that. Or I didn't go and do this. No. You are capable of whatever you want to do. And I had a friend tell me, well, I stopped telling that to my daughter. I stopped telling my daughter she can do anything she wants to do. She's not going to go be a supermodel. She's not tall enough. Okay, but what can she do in that direction? She wanted to model. She was interested in modeling. And her dad was kind of undoing her with this idea that she had to be tall to be a model. And she didn't. And she went on to have a very nice career in modeling. Maybe not a supermodel, but she was very happy with what she was able to do. And that was a very magical moment in her life, creating this thing in her life. And kind of vetoing the idea that she had to look a certain way to be a model. One of the populations of people that I am just in love with is our young people with Down syndrome. these people are doing amazing things. And there's a lady named Madeline. I don't know what her last name is, but she's a model. And she created her own clothing company, her own line of clothing called 23 Reasons Why. This group of people mesmerize me. They fascinate me. I love watching them. Another young fellow owns a cookie factory. And they're getting out there, and they're living their lives. They're creating their lives, and I imagine that they have a very high degree of self-love. I imagine that they are able to see the energies and things that they are creating in their life. I think they are a very magical group of people, and that basically they are our teachers. So, you know, I don't know what else to say about this topic. A good exercise, let's talk about some exercises that would be good for overcoming limited beliefs. So, what I want you to do as an exercise is, first of all, learn to recognize your limiting beliefs. Where did that come from? Was that taught to you by your parents? Was it something that you picked up along the way? And stop and isolate that limiting belief. Isolate that for a moment and consider the possibilities of the opposite. Interrupt that thought of that limiting belief, and in its place, put the opposite idea. So, if you're trying to buy a house and you have no down payment and you have no good credit, but you still want to buy a house, stop and interrupt that thought for a minute. And for goodness sakes, be cognizant, be conscious of who you're talking to. You know who the naysayers in your life are. You know who is going to go into the negative with you about that topic. Don't talk to them. If you have magical friends, talk to them. Because a magical friend, like I said, is a lot more apt to say something like, wow, that's a big goal. It is a big goal. The Abrahams say that it's just as difficult to manifest a button in your life as it is to manifest $1 million. It takes the same type of energy. It takes the same amount of energy. So when you start to have a limiting belief, and this could be a belief about anything, about how God feels about us, about a desire that you're trying to create, stop and consider the opposite possibility of that. Well, I want to do this thing, but it looks like you have to do this and this and this before you can do this thing. In some cases, you're going to have to meet those requirements. If you want to be a doctor, I'm the one to tell you that you're going to have to go to school. You already know that. So how are you going to get there? You're going to get there by suspending those limited beliefs. Maybe you were led to believe as a child that you weren't smart enough to go to college. Lots of us were told that as kids. I was a bad speller, and I finally started setting with the dictionary on my lap. And every week in school we had lists. We had 20 words that we had to learn how to spell. I went to school in the late 60s and early 70s, so they probably don't do that. We also had to practice our penmanship. And I would learn to spell these words. There was kind of this undercurrent in my home that, I really wasn't that smart. Well, as it turns out, I am that smart. And I learned to spell, and I learned to do math, and I went to college, and it was a process of eliminating limiting beliefs one at a time as they came up. So what if I don't do it that way? What if I do it this way? Yeah, I got to go to college. Okay, but mom and dad says I'm not smart enough to go to college. What do you do with that? Go take a class. Go take one class. And the whole time you're taking that class, consider the possibility that maybe you are smart enough. Maybe you are smart enough. Go take a class. Focus on that one class. I hear stories all the time of people who get college degrees by taking 1 or 2 classes at a time. That's part-time. 1 class at a time is very part-time. And I have heard stories of people who got college degrees by taking 1 class at a time. Okay? And if you are struggling with your relationship with the divine, with the universe, with your others, if you don't feel like they're there for you, start talking to them. They love it when we talk to them. It's not a requirement of your contract with them when you came down here. You contracted with a group of beings who would oversee your life while you were down here. Angels and spirit guides and ancestors. And it's very seldom ever an aspect of the contract that you would be able to hear them or that you would talk to them. But one of the ways to really develop a relationship with your others is to start talking to them. And don't expect anything in return. Just talk to them. When I talk to them, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel loved. It makes me feel close to them when I talk to them. They don't even have to talk back to me. So try that. Try that. If you feel like God doesn't love you, talk to God. We call that prayer. Talk to God. Prayer is kind of a fancy word, and you think of like formal words, and you got to get down on your knees and you got to fold your hands a certain way. No, you don't. All you have to do is direct the energy of those words to source energy, to the divine one, and it will hear you. It loves you. Every being in the universe loves you and conspires to commit your divine action, conspires to help you achieve what you are aiming for in your life, what you are trying to create in your third dimensional reality. So I think I'm going to stop there. I think that's enough for today, so I don't start crying again. This is very all of your healing, of our healing as a planet, is a passion for me. So, and I want everybody to have their powerful life. See? And so that's a lot of what the tears are about, but I'm sure you already figured that out. So watch for, on my website in the next couple of days, watch for the meditation for overcoming the limiting belief of being separated from God. Okay, watch for that. I'm not really sure how I'm going to put it together, but I know I can come up with something amazing for you. And as always, look at my website, amagicallifewithayla.com. And there's lots of stuff on there to see. There's lots more stuff coming. And you can follow me on Facebook. And let's see what else. I think that's it for now. I'm trying to get into the habit of making the videos and blogging and working on the website. Tomorrow, I start writing the next book, which is the third in this series, the third and final book in this series. And then we're going to move on to some Nonfiction. The next thing after this book, I'm going to write a book called The Laws of Healing, because I think it's just that important. Okay, that's it for today. I love you very much. Blessed be.